Hello everyone. May I get a quick yes if I'm audible?
Yes,
Okay,
Abhiraj, I can
perfect.
hear you.
Perfect. So, hi everyone. Welcome to today's webinar on Introduction to Qlik Sense. My name is Abhiraj Suresh and I'm the Associate Project Manager for Analytics Vidya. I'll be the moderator for today's webinar. I'm delighted to be joined by Mr. Shilpan Patel from Analytics Hub, who is our presenter today. Before we kick things off and I hand it over to him, there are a couple of administrative items I wanted to cover. First, we are recording the webinar and the recording will be made available and shared with you in the next couple of days. If you face any technical issues such as audio going out, please log out and log back in. And if that doesn't solve the problem, you can watch the webinar. You can listen to the webinar on Analytics Vidya's Facebook account. You can use the chat window to ask any questions you might have during the webinar, and we will do our best to answer them as the webinar progresses. And if not, they will surely be answered in the Q&A session in the end. On to our presenters today. Shilpan Patel is the co-founder of Analytics Hub. He has been a Qlik luminary for three consecutive years since 2018. Shilpan specializes in Qlik Sense, Qlik View, data modeling, Qlik design, and various other aspects of business intelligence. So, without any further ado, handing over the stage to our presenter, Shilpan. Over to you.
Thank you, Abhiraj, for kind introduction. Good evening, everyone in India, and good morning to everyone who joined from United States. I'm going to present today on Qlik Sense. So let me start by sharing the screen. We'll go through a quick introduction, and then I'll have a rapid fire session to show you how quickly you can build an application in Qlik Sense. So just a second, I'm bringing up my presentation right now. Okay, good morning again, and good evening to those of you in India. We'll start with the agenda for this webinar. We'll have a quick introduction, and then I'm going to go over a quick overview of Qlik Sense as a platform, because I assume you may not have seen this in action. And after that, the real session will begin with hands-on demo, in which I'll show you how quickly you can turn data into actionable insight by using Qlik's powerful associative engine, along with equally powerful cognitive engine, which is their artificial intelligence feature that they keep improving with every release. So the goal during the hands-on session is to show you how you can create a robust Qlik application very quickly without writing a single line of code. Not only that, I'll use cognitive engine as much as possible to even create charts so that you don't have to wonder which chart to use when. At the end, we have Q&A session, and if you run out of time, please submit your question, and I promise to follow up at the conclusion of this webinar. So with that, I'm Shilpan Patel, as Abhiraj introduced me already, so I'm not going to expound on that anymore. I'm a luminary since 2018, and I have been using Qlik since the last 7 years. I've been in business intelligence for over 15 years, but for the last 7 years, I've devoted my time and energy behind this incredibly powerful tool, and you will see that in action soon, so hopefully you'll also agree with me. So what we do, as Abhiraj said, I am co-founder of analyticshub.io. Combined with Analytics Vidya, our mission is to mentor students who want to take their career to the next level and also help them achieve certification. So mentoring is the key. We are working on courses that we will introduce soon. Hopefully, if you like to pursue this career, you can check later on that. So a little bit on Qlik. Qlik as a company was born in 1993 back in Lund, Sweden. The initial product, as you may know, was Qlik View. And in 2014, in order to compete with some of the modern visualization tools such as Tableau, Qlik came out with Qlik Sense, which is very intuitive, powerful tool, and you'll see that in action soon. So since 2014, Qlik has been investing heavily in Qlik Sense as a product. Qlik View is still there, but Qlik Sense is their flagship product now. And they have over 50,000 customers of 2020 as we speak now. So company is leader in the Magic Quadrant. That's Gartner's Magic Quadrant since around 2011. So it's been 10 years. It's been leader in that quadrant, which itself is a huge accomplishment. And that is without the mention that the power the tool provides is unique, and no other tool has that kind of capability. So once you see that in action, you'll realize how powerful it is compared to other competitive tools. So how is it differs from other traditional BI tools? So this depiction shows that most of the tools are hierarchical in nature, where you create a hierarchy, for example, OLEP kind of tool, where you have region, state, product, and cells, and you can only drill in that specific order. Whereas Qlik Sense, because of its associative indexing engine, you can freely ask questions, as we do of human being ask questions, and Qlik Sense model can quickly answer those questions because of the associative nature of the model. And that being said, every table that you bring into the model is being associated with another table. And again, when I build this application, it will make more sense to you when you see that in action. So the architecture is very simple. It's three-tier. It starts with data access, and data is virtually everywhere. It's omnipresent, and it's growing at rapid clip. So Qlik can virtually connect to any data source that you can imagine. If there is a unique source that you need to connect, there are connectors that Qlik provides and other vendors provide to connect to those sources. Then you, as a developer, build an application and work with the administration to publish that on a hub. And once it's published to the hub, your business users can access to the application. So hub is sort of a portal where all applications reside, and users can, in real time, interact with the application. And the beauty of that is that Qlik is rendering charts in real time with calculation happening in real time on the server. So let's take a minute to go over the hub and the components, because that's where we will be spending most of the time. So hub, as I said, is a portal where all applications reside. And within the hub, you have various applications. So when you open an application, it has app overview. That's sort of a holistic view of the application, where it has three main views that you can see. One is the sheet view, the other is storytelling view, and of course, data model. So logically, you need to bring data into your application, and we'll do that. You can bring that data into application using Data Load Editor or Data Manager. So Load Editor is for those who are technically expert in writing scripts and building models. Qlik Sense being a self-service tool that it's being targeted for business analysts, data scientists, and others who are not necessarily expert in writing Qlik Sense script. So Data Manager is the tool you can utilize to rapidly build a robust data model, and we'll do that without writing a single line of code when we create our model. Once the model is created, you can create sheets that will contain various charts, and and also create stories that you can share with your users. So that's the high-level overview of various components of the hub. Now it's time for demo. So I'm going to dive straight into the Qlik Sense desktop and show you how quickly you can turn data into actionable insight. So here I am with my desktop open and running. So I'm going to create a new app, and let's call it Analytics Vidya Qlik Sense Demo. As soon as you create an app, it's intuitively asking you or helping you to get to the next level. And that is to create a data model by bringing data into your data model. So there are two ways that I showed just now, using either Data Manager or Data Load Editor. Again, we are going to use Data Manager because we want Qlik's cognitive engine to help us build a data model without writing a single line of code. So I'm going to click on Data Manager. And it'll take a minute to get to the screen. Now here I have all the connections on the left, all the connectors in the center. As I mentioned, you can connect to various sources that you can see here on the screen using these connectors. For the purpose of demo, we're just going to build our application using QVDs. So QVDs are Qlik's proprietary data file formats that Qlik is using to read and write to. And it's very efficient because that's Qlik's native data format. So let's use the folder structure. Here on C drive, I have my QVD files. And let's start with customers as our first table. As you see, when you click on the QVD, it brings up the file with table names. You can change headers if you like. If you want to change any of these column names, you can do so without, again, writing a single line of code. You can add filters if you like. All these things are very easy to use without knowledge of SQL, right? So for now, we're just going to get this table into our data model. And as soon as I bring that table in, the next step logically is to help me build visualizations. So here I can start asking questions, and the cognitive engine will provide me charts that meet my criteria. So things such as, hey, customer by, and as you see, as I'm typing the word customer, is bringing all the fields. Now, if I had any master items, which we'll get into soon, it also shows master items. But right now, let's say customer by country. So here's the field country, and I'm going to ask Cognitive Engine to generate some charts for me. Since I'm a novice, I don't know how to create charts. And there are 3 charts that it came up with. Okay, I like this map. So I'm going to go ahead and add it to my sheet for now. I also like this KPI, which stands for Key Performance Indicator. It just shows me how many distinct cities are in my data set. Fine, I may change it, but I'll, for now, get it into my visualization stack. All right, so that's how logical flow works, from data all the way to visualization in less than a few minutes, right? But we're not done yet. I need to build a robust data model, the associative data model. So I'm going to keep working on it by going back to the data. And I'm going to go back to Data Manager again and click on the QVD files folder. And the next one, logically, I want to bring in is the products table. So I got my customers. Now I have products to bring in to my data model. At this point, I'm going to keep the associative and the cognitive engine helped by keeping the profile on. And I'll show you what the difference is in a second. But by default, Cognitive Engine is working behind the scene. It's constantly looking at what I'm bringing in and helping me create those associations without me knowing how to create associations between the table. All right, so let's go ahead and add this table. So I have two bubbles right now. I have customers and I have products. As you see, the size of the bubble is proportionate to number of rows. So that gives you some ideas to which table has large volume data. Now, if I left click on product, it shows a little goldish circle around customers. That means there is some relationship between two, but not as strong. And on the right-hand side, it's suggesting a possible association between these two tables, a link, which is weak right now. I'd like to see a green circle around it. So I'm not too happy about this association. So I'm looking at this suggestion, but again, Cognitive Engine is just suggesting, it's not enforcing. So it's up to you really to take action on it. So for now, let's defer to that and add our next table. So I'm going to add orders as my next table. And of course, orders is a big fact table that has a lot of factual information. All right, so I'm going to keep all the fields. Again, you can either change the header of any of these columns or unselect fields that you don't need in your data model. Again, for the sake of demo, let's keep them all and add it to the data model. Right, now I have three bubbles. That means I have three tables in my data model. If I click on products at this point, it's still showing this little goldish circle around customer. But if I click on customers, I'm seeing a green circle around orders. And that indicates a strong association between two tables. So I like that. So I'm going to left click and drag this customer and drop it on orders. That's how easy it is to create association between two tables without knowing how to write a single line of code. And behind the scene, Qlik Sense is building script for me, which eventually I can edit if I like, but for now, this is good enough. So I'm going to keep this, and I'm still not sure about this association that it's suggesting, so I'm going to keep that at bay. And let's get another table, and that's the orders detail, because I need detail for each order. So I'm going to click on my connection again. And as you notice now, every time I go to connection, it's bringing the last connection that I created, which is also helpful so that I don't have to keep going to QVD file folder. So the last one is the orders detail. And I'm going to make a subtle different change here. So I'm going to turn off the Cognitive Engine. I'm going to tell it, hey, I don't need your help anymore. So you do that by turning off the profile. When you do that, Cognitive Engine says, okay, I'm not helping you anymore. Go ahead and load it. And at this point, when I load this table, it will only associate with any of the three tables that we have in the data model if it has a single column that matches with single column in any of these three tables. And the names are case sensitive. And similar to Qlik View, if you have seen Qlik View in action, right? So this is similar to how Qlik View association works, essentially. So I'm going to click on Add Data. And as you notice, I did not form association, but because I turn off Cognitive Engine, the load script found an association between the orders detail and orders by the order number. So if you click on the eyelet, it actually shows how it's forming association and how strong is the association. But something else happened. So products got associated with orders detail as well. So I'm going to click on that. And that has this association called item description, because once you turn off the Cognitive Engine, the associations are formed on common field names. So you got to be careful there because I don't want to form an association on a descriptive field like this between two tables. Correct? So I can click on the products and detach it from the model because I don't like that association. At this point, Cognitive Engine, my friend behind the scenes helping me, came back to help, and now it's suggested that I can form an association between these two by the number, which is actually the product number or the item number. That makes sense because one table has the field name number, the other one has the item number. That's fine. So I'm going to accept what Cognitive Engine is suggesting at this point as association and form that. And now if I look at this eyelet, the association is much more plausible. It's stronger association than what I had before. So the point is, even though it is associating tables on its own and the Cognitive Engine can be turned off and turned on, you have to be vigilant. You have to pay attention to your data model. You have to know your data at least. And that, as if you're a business analyst or working in business, you do know that. That's essential to build a robust data model. So at this point, I created a data model that is associative, meaning every table is associated with another. And by virtue of that, I can freely drag and drop fields from any tables to form visualizations. But we're not done yet since we have not loaded this table. So in Qlik View and Qlik Sense, you have to load data for that model to be in memory. Right? So let's get to the next step by loading data. So in last 10 minutes or less, I quickly built a data model using QBDs that someone else created for me. Now at this point, if I want to see this data model, the best way to see it is in Data Model Viewer. So if I click on Data Model Viewer, I can see association between tables. And why is it called association? Because they are joins, but not hard joins as you would make in SQL or other tools. As opposed to that, these are soft joins, so to speak, that Qlik is applying, and these are full outer join that Qlik applies dynamically when user interacts with the application. That's why they call it association versus join. So here you can see item number, and you can always preview data and see how data looks like in Data Model Viewer. So this is how you should always look at Data Model Viewer every time you add a new table to your data model, just to make sure that the integrity of model is intact and data looks the way you expect it to look, right? So another good feature here is that Qlik Sense, again, being very intuitive and focused on business users, it is helping you as much as possible to build a library of dimensions and measures. Again, dimension and measure is essential to build any chart. And for that reason, it is essential for you to create that robust library so that your users can use them without knowing how to write an expression to create a chart. So one example would be, say, if I click on field sales, I can create a measure by throwing aggregation function sum around sales, and I'll call it sales. You should always check the syntax by clicking on the expression editor, make sure it's okay. You apply that, and you can also assign a color if you like. If we're not going to do that, you can also put description, etc. So let's create that measure. We can also create dimensions. So for products.item description, that's kind of clumsy name, we're going to create a master item called product. So I can click on dimension, add dimension, and sort of alias it to product. So quickly I created a dimension and a measure. Let's also create one more for discount, for instance. So I want to create average discount that we apply to customers. So anytime you create a measure, it has to be enclosed in some sort of aggregation function. So here we're using average. Again, make sure that the syntax is proper and go ahead and create it. So within less than a minute, we created two measures and one dimension. So as we go along, I'm going to show you different ways you can create measures and dimensions so that you keep building that robust library of dimensions and measures as you build your application. All right, so at this point, if I click on analysis to go back, again, I'm new, I don't know how to create charts, so I want to rely on my friend Cognitive Engine as much as possible to not only help me build this robust data model, but also to create charts that are meaningful to my users. So here, if I say, hey, Cognitive Engine, please give me sales, and when I type sales, it says, I found sales as master measure, or I found sales as a field. Which one you like? So I can say, okay, I want master measure, comma, if I say discount, and it says, okay, here's the measure discount, and say by customer. So here's my field customer. So pretty simple English-like statement that I made, and I'm clicking on generate the chart. So here are the charts it created. Now it created lots of charts, right? And I may or may not need all of them, but I need, say, this scatter plot chart that shows relationship between discount and sales. That's very important for my customer analysis. So I'm going to go ahead and add it to my sheet. I'm also going to look at some of the other charts to see any of those do make sense or not. Yes, I like this bar chart, so I'm going to add that to my sheet. So as much as possible, I'm going to leverage what Cognitive Engine is suggesting as the charts that I can add to my sheet. Here's another key performance indicator I'm going to add, and I also want to get the sales info. So within several clicks, I added so many charts to my visualization already. Right, with that said, I'm going to then get back to creating the application. We built a data model within the first 10, 12 minutes. We also created a library of dimension measure and then leverage Cognitive Engine to create some charts on the fly. So let's get back to our sheet, which has all these charts that I added from the Insight Advisor, which is a feature that is being empowered by the Cognitive Engine. All right, so right now I want to add it in, create a customer analysis sheet, for instance, right? So I'm going to move around some of these objects by resizing. You can click on the chart and change the handle. So here, I want to show KPI at the top. So starting with, say, item description, these are the products, right? So right there. I'm going to resize and add it here. And by the way, if you want to change the grid size, you can click on the canvas and change it from wide to, let's say, medium, so that you get finer grid here. Then I can add additional chart objects. So we're in Sheet Editor. We have Asset Panel on the left that shows fields, master items, charts, and custom object feature extensions you can add. On the right-hand side, every time you click on any of these charts, it shows properties that we're going to change constantly as we reshuffle some of these charts and add some to finish our application. All right, so I want to add an image next to the KPI. So I just drag and drop this here. And I want to add, say, for instance, a background image. There's no measure here. And that background image is, say, products. So here are my products. So it looks like this, but you can change it to fit. You can say always fit. So these are number of products I have next to the image. And you can click on the KPI itself and change the name or label the KPI and say products. And at this point, as I said, we created some dimensions measures in the model viewer. Now we can add additional dimensions and measures from the property panel. So there are various ways you can add dimensions and measures to keep creating a rich library of master items. So here, I want this to be added because I may use it elsewhere, right? So click here and say add, and it already included my expression, etc. So I'm adding this measure in my library. So this is the second one. Then truly I don't need this, so I'm going to delete at this point. I need cells, so I'm going to resize cells and move it here. And I want image for the cells, so I'm going to copy this and paste it next to the cells and resize the image. And of course, I'm going to change the image that makes sense for this. And let's say this is the image I like, so that's for my cells. And I need one more for the customers. So let's copy the image again, paste it, and let's change it to align with the KPI that we're going to add for the customers. So for customers, let's add this companies, and that's my image here. So at this point, I need to add the KPI for customers, and I don't have one. So for that, what you can do is you can either create a master item and drag and drop, or you can use one of these chart types that's KPI. So if I add KPI here and says, hey, now add a measure, because KPI contains measure, there's no dimension. I can say I need customer. So when you type customer again, Google likes search. Now when you type a word, even a partial substring, it brings all the fields that match that substring. So here with customer, it then tells me, hey, pick one measure out of this. And that is the count. So I'm picking this. And of course, if you think that that field has been repeated multiple times in tables, you can add distinct qualifier, similar to how you add distinct in SQL, right? So here again, make sure your expression's fine. And this is my customer measure. So this will just show me how many customers I have in my model. And I'm going to call it customers. And again, I want to add this in my master measure library because I may use it again in some other seats. So with that, we created the KPI panel. And anytime you want to see how it looks, you got to get out of this by clicking on Done. So this is how our sheet looks like right now. We're not finished. Let's go back. Another thing I want to do is go back into the app overview. So app overview, as I said, is sort of a holistic view of your app with components such as sheets, bookmarks, stories. Here you can also change some of the settings such as theme. You can use different themes. You can create custom theme for your application. I just like the basic classics theme that is white background. This way, if I click on my sheet now, it looks better because it has brighter white background. Now I want to keep working on my visualization. So first thing I'm going to do is to take this map and let's move it here. And I want to create a drill down map. So anytime a user clicks on the map, it shows first the states and then it shows cities, for example, or the country and city, right? So let's resize this map first. And you can reshuffle by cutting and pasting charts like this and kind of keep moving your charts with one of the handles around. So if I want to enlarge the map, I'm going to just enlarge like this. Now, it has already layers because, again, Cognitive Engine created this chart for me. That's very helpful. I didn't really need to know what are the layers, how to add layers. Of course, you can add layers by clicking on Add Layers and choose one of these, but you already have the chart kind of pre-cooked by the Cognitive Engine. All I need to do is just to create a drill down master dimension that I can use to drill down this map. And how we do that? By clicking on master item. I'm going to create a new dimension this time. And this is another way you can create a master item. So I already shown you two ways you can create master item. This is third way you can create by clicking on the master item asset library panel. And now you have same dialog box. You had to change the focus from single over to drill down. Start with country and city. Because this is hierarchical, it's important to have this hierarchy in order. And this is why it provides this little handle if you need to move around the field in the order. The order is very important here. All right, so I call it region drill down and add it to my library. Now I'm ready to create a drill down map. Okay, so let's start with the area map. And as I said, anytime you want to change the property of a specific chart, you highlight the chart and then you click on the property panel and make changes to the property. So the first thing I want to do is just delete this dimension, and I want to add the regional drill down. So that brings the area layer back. Now, the trick is to go into the options and layer display, and there's an option called visible drill down levels. So I'm going to flip it and make it custom. I want to show country and not city initially, right? So this is the change I made. Now I'm going to also change colors. And I want to make color consistent by changing from single over to major, right? So then you need to decide what is your major, and my major is sales, okay? Now let's change the point layer. Again, in the point layer also, I'm going to delete the city and add the regional drill down because I want to use that hierarchy for the drill down. And I'm going to make similar change here to visible drill down levels to custom down to city this time and not state. So you notice that the point layer disappeared because it's not visible initially in the hierarchy, right? And again, to be consistent, I'm going to use color with the measure of cells. That's my measure, right? So with this, I can click on done, and if I select an area layer, I can select or confirm my selection and see the point layer underneath. Now it shows all cities with cells for that country. So this is how you create a drill down layer map, right? Let's keep working on it a little bit more to finish our application in next 5 or 10 minutes. So I'm going to click on edit, and I don't like the way the bar chart renders at this point, so I'm going to work a little bit on that. First I want to do is to change the presentation by clicking on presentation, and I want to change it from vertical over to horizontal, right? And I want to change the short order also. So let's look at the data first of all. It has city and country. I really don't need city. I just need data at the country level. And I'm going to click on sorting, and I'm going to change the short order from country over to sales. So by just dragging and dropping field in short order, Qlik Sense quickly changed the order for me. So you see how intuitive and powerful it is without knowing a single line of code or any of the scripting aspect. You're building a powerful application. In order to be consistent with my other charts, I'm going to change the color property here also. So from the single color, I want to have a consistent color and look and feel by flipping the color from auto to custom. Again, keep in mind anytime you want to change property of a chart, you got to highlight that chart and change property on the right hand side over to measure. And now it shows similar color that matches with my map. And if I don't like this legend at the bottom, I can turn that off by changing the property from show legend over to do not show legend. Right. So now I have three charts that are looking similar, color, look and feel, and they're quite powerful. The only other thing I want to add here, and let's make a few changes here in the scatter plot also. Again, we don't need this legend, so in colors in legend, you can turn off legend. And if you don't like titles can also be dynamic. Again, it's hard to cover all that in this 30 minutes, but you can do so many things to customize your applications. But for now, I'm going to just say, let's just not show the presentation and okay, appearance. In general, I'm going to turn off the title. Right, so that's the change I want to make. So I'm getting there now. The only chart I need to create now is a gate chart. So for example, if I want to show, say, cost of sales. So in order to show that, the calculation is twofold. It's you have to come up with cost of goods sold divided by sales. So let's create a master item first. So I'm going to create a new master measure. So not dimension, we're going to click on measure, create new. And here I'm going to type sum of, say, unit cost times, let's say we have a field called sales quantity, right? So that is my COGS, or cost of goods sold. I'm going to use this here. And that is one of the measures. But now, again, cost of sales has denominator, which is sales. The issue is I do have sales as a master measure, but I cannot use that in another master measure. And for that, you can use variables. So there is a variable editor on the bottom left. I can create a new variable called vSales. And I can create an expression sum of sales. All right, so this is my variable that contains that expression. The beauty of variable is now I can use that in a master measure. How do I do that? Let's copy this measure and I'm going to edit that and use a mechanism called $ expansion to use the measure, or the expression within the variable as a measure, right? So here's dollar and V cells. And you notice that in Qlik Sense, everything's color coded. The functions are rendered in blue. Fields are in or goldish, and the variables are in purple color. So this is the expression for cost of sales, and that's my measure. Now the beauty of this is that if I take this, because it's a percent value, it should be rendered in a gauge chart format. Because again, my silent friend, cognitive engine, is working behind the scene, and it recognized that this is a percent number, so it just showed me a gauge without me even thinking about what chart to use, right? Here now, I can quickly change the property by telling cognitive engine, hey, just stop here, I'm good with this. It also says, hey, you have other charts too if you don't like this, right? So you can select one of those. We're fine with this, so we're turning it off to change property from radial over to bar. And now I can see the cost of sales as a percent value. If I want to change the way values labels look, then I can click on data and cost of sales from auto over to number, and I can change it to percent value like that. The only thing I want to add now is a filter so that I can start interacting with my app. So for that, I'm going to click on the fields and customer. So here's my filter customer. And there you go. That's our application that we created in about 30 minutes or so. So I can now quickly look at how things are in terms of the insight from customer standpoint by selecting on certain customers. And you notice that every chart is getting recalculated. So in Qlik Sense, this paradigm shift is that every time user makes selections, everything gets recalculated. Every chart, not just in this sheet, but if I had multiple sheets, every chart will get recalculated. And that's the beauty of this associative indexing engine that's working behind the scenes, because as users make selections, the calculation engine is quickly recalculating every chart and showing data that makes sense to your users, because now data is rendered based on the selections. So you can start looking at some of the outliers, such as companies that are getting a lot of discount but not placing as many sales, or companies that are placing a lot of orders and not getting as much discount. And you do so by using lasso tools to kind of circle around that and then get more insight onto this company. Now, anytime you want to expand on that, if real estate is not big enough, then you can go full screen and look at this customers or universe of customers that you can drill down in to get more insight, such as some of these customers in this top quadrant, they're getting more discounts but not placing as many orders. So you see that how quickly you can turn data into insight by using power of associative indexing engine combined with the cognitive engine to create a rich, interactive, powerful Qlik Sense application. We have about 10 minutes left. I'm going to pause at this point and we'll get to the Q&A, which is the next session. Again, from career standpoint, Qlik developers who know the technology well earn higher salaries than those who know other BI tools. I know that from my personal experience, that as you gain more expertise, the marketplace will reward you. So I hope that you like this quick rapid fire demo to see the power of Qlik and how intuitive, easy, and robust it is to turn data into actionable insight. So, Abhiraj, I'm going to open it up for the Q&A at this point. If there are any questions I can answer, I'll be glad to do so. If not, then I promise you that at the conclusion of this webinar, I'll get back to you to answer any questions you may have.
Hi Shilpan, there are some questions in the Q&A session that are coming up.
Okay,
Yeah,
let's
can you
see
just,
here.
yeah.
Yes, let me open the chat. Live screen not showing. Yes. Okay, I'll start with the question at the top. I'll attend your Qlik Sense course for 6 months. I'm downloading free trial in 30 days. How can I use Qlik Sense for 6 months along your course? Again, as you might have heard, that Qlik has announced that they will stop providing free desktop. That being said, it's going to be available till June, and at that point, you may have to sign up for their cloud version. Right now, if you need access to Qlik Sense desktop, I can provide a link that you can use, but again, beware that that will work till end of June, and at that point, hopefully Qlik will extend it. I'm not sure what they'll do because they're getting a lot of requests from developers around the world to keep the desktop available. So it may change as time goes. So stay tuned, and I'll try to provide you answers as much as I can. Once I get some insight, being a luminary. How you use Tableau? How you compare the two? I'm not Tableau expert. I know Tableau. I'm just a student of comparing learning technology, and to be honest, Tableau is a great tool in terms of visualization. They hands down beat all the tools in that sense. But when it comes to the data volumes and the complexity of business, depending on the type of industry you're in, such as healthcare or finance, Tableau and other tools cannot compete with Qlik, in my humble opinion, because they are still a query-based tools. They have limitations. So for departmental level, it is good. I wouldn't consider it as robust in terms of enterprise and large data volumes. How to share final presentation? Yeah, that's great point. So that I cannot share here, but if you work with the administration department, somebody who's administering your environment, that person can allow you to publish it to the hub. So Qlik Sense comes with a robust security engine. So you can write security rules, or someone who is managing your environment can write rules to allow you to publish it to the hub. It may be development server or UAT server where you can publish, but at least by having them open it up, you can publish it to your server. Yes, I just covered this Sanjay's question before. It is for now until June. Yes, you can download. You cannot download it right now. I think they stopped the download part, but I can provide a link that you can use to install it on your machine, since download's probably not available anymore. Again, keep in mind that will only work till June, and then at that point, hopefully Qlik will come up with a better strategy. I'm not familiar with Ubuntu, so I'll research on that and let you know. I'll get back with you on that. I covered Qlik Sense and Tableau, so will not repeat that again. The next question is very similar. Qlik Sense provide dynamic value and just like a great question. So Qlik has a feature called on-demand app generation. You can use that similar to a parameterized report. So you have a summary application, and summary application has filters that you can use or allow users to pick values from. And then that will trigger a detail application. So yes, but then you have to use that ODAC or on-demand app generation feature. Can we map different data sets from different domains to REST services? Short answer is yes. Again, Tableau, we've covered that. How to create QED. Again, this session was just to introduce you Qlik Sense and how quickly you can turn data into actionable insight. But yeah, again, we are planning with Analytics Hub a comprehensive course with mentoring. So that mentorship will be there, and that will cover end-to-end all aspects of Qlik development. Can we see something on story feature? Again, time won't permit. Hopefully we'll do another webinar in the future to cover some of those aspects. But yes, definitely. Does Qlik work with real-time data? Yes and no. Yes, in the sense that Qlik has a hybrid model where you can use the associative model in conjunction with live data. So what happens is that once the threshold exceeds at a certain point, it will go and start making SQL call to the source. The only caveat with that is that it's difficult to, at least for now, configure that part. You have to have knowledge of doing that. Plus, the application performance may not be as good because now Qlik's making a call to the database. Because in Qlik, this document, the application has everything as we see here on the screen right now. You mentioned that filters with employed gets applied to all the sheets. Is there a way to make sure filters apply only? Yes. So there is a feature called alternate state. So again, for that you have to understand the data model and how Qlik works behind the scene under hood. So everything's associated by nature, but then anytime you want to change a chart or group of charts or detach them from the model, you can create a different state. It's just a label, and then apply that to every chart, and then that chart will not interact with other charts. The session was on, but it's still going to cover the market in India as per my experience, Power BI and Tableau. Again, I cannot comment on the situation in India. I'm in the United States, in Atlanta, and I hear from friends how different BI tools work in India. My understanding is still that Qlik was one of the first ones to get into Indian market back in early 2010 or 11 timeframe, or even prior to that. So Qlik has advantage somewhat, but I understand Power BI and Tableau are getting there too. Again, you have to, it all depends on the nature of the business. In my humble opinion, I know Power BI, I know Tableau. There's no match when it comes to robust data model and the volume of data that Qlik can handle. Do you agree? And like I said, agree and disagree in the sense, I just don't think that any other tool has this unique associative indexing engine, which is the core aspect of Qlik. I think that's the the foundational aspect of Qlik as a product that it differentiates from other tools. Um, Spotfire, I never used Spotfire, so I cannot comment. I have no idea about that, but I hear that it is nowhere near, Qlik, Tableau, or Power BI. They're in the top magic quadrant. Spotfire is not. How Qlik? That's a great question. So behind the scene, QlikView and Qlik Sense both are using same powerful associative indexing engine. That being said, you can use same QVD file that I used to build this application to build even QlikView application. I can build with the same data. So that's a huge benefit because a lot of companies started with QlikView, invested heavily in QlikView, and they have all these QVDs that they want to leverage for Qlik Sense. So from that aspect, from scripting, they're essentially same. From visualization perspective, they're quite different. It's day and night difference because QlikView, Qlik Sense visualizations, if you put side by side, are starkly different. And again, the idea of Qlik Sense is to compete more with the Tableaus of the world. Right? How can you create hypercube mashup? Oh, great concept. So I didn't even scratch that surface. That Qlik Sense being a web platform, so to speak. So it's built on HTML5 platform. That being said, you can create these mashups. Anybody who knows how to develop mashups using JavaScript, CSS, HTML, you can create powerful mashups that you can embed in your web portals. And yes, that it is essentially behind the scene using Hypercube. Python, yes. Answer is yes for Python and R. How much demand is there? Qlik Sense and what packages we get? Again, I don't know about the demand in India, but I know that it's pretty strong because Reliance and a lot of these big companies are using Qlik, and the fact that there are a lot of partners that are in business for more than a decade is a good testimonial. Can we connect Qlik Sense with Python? Yes, you can. I cover QlikView, Qlik Sense difference. Recording, can you please? Yes, I think it will be a Viraj, right? The live recording. How much more time do we have, Viraj? Just pause me if I need
We
to.
have
There are a
already
lot of
crossed
questions.
the time limit, but yeah, we can
Yeah,
extend it by
we can
another 2 minutes.
extend. Okay, sure. Okay, so I'll quickly go over the remaining, if I may. Will eventually all QlikView application be transferred? My guess, who knows, because Europe is where QlikView started in 1993. So as you know, Qlik is still very strong in Europe. Power BI is definitely getting there. Tableau is not as strong in Europe. That being said, a lot of European companies are still using QlikView. So I don't see it being removed from their stack anytime soon, in next 5 years or so at least. But that is their push. Qlik as a company want customers to move from QlikView to Qlik Sense. And the fact that Qlik Sense gets 4 updates a year versus QlikView gets only 1 tells you the story that they're putting a lot of money in Qlik Sense as a product. Machine learning models in Qlik Sense. Actually, if I had time, I would have shown simple linear regression using data. So you're seeing this scatter plot chart. As long as there's linear relationship between 2 measures, you can use some of these built-in statistical functions in Qlik Sense to build a model. And actually, I wrote an article on Analytics Vidya. You're welcome to read that to see how you can use a simple linear regression using built-in function Qlik Sense. Again, we cover how it differs from the other tools besides associative. I hope that in this webinar, you not only saw how powerful the associative engine is, which everybody knows, but my focus was more on to cognitive engine. that artificial intelligence feature that helped me quickly build application from scratch. So not only it helped me build the data model, which you saw, but also visualization, because I only created one chart, just the gate chart. All the other charts were built by the cognitive engine.
Sorry to
Um,
interrupt, Shilpan, but
yeah,
we are
yeah,
running out of time.
we can.
So, yeah, can you
Sure.
just
Yeah, I'll definitely follow up. Those of you, I apologize. I'll definitely, Abhiraj will get back with them.
sure? Yeah.
And
So, anything else that
thank you
you
for your
want to
time.
come? Yeah.
Yeah.
So, thank you everyone for your time. I hope this was a fruitful session. We'll be sending you the recording of this session soon.
Thank you, everybody. Have a good night.